What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Mike DeFrancesca here. And today we're doing another interview. We have Shanne Carlvalho with us, who it's a really pleasure to have. He's a top producer out in the Bay Area, and I'm just happy to have him. He's doing all types of incredible things out there, and I wanted to get him on here so he could talk about what he's doing a little bit different. Shanne, why don't you give us a little bit of background?
Mike, thanks for having me. Yeah, so I'm out here in California, grew up here in the Santa Cruz area, and been pretty much doing this my whole life. Started out building in the family construction business in my teen years while going to school. And basically my dad had a small general contracting business, and I have three younger brothers. Eventually my brother below me took over when he retired, and I got completely out of the family business. I was a mortgage broker for about 10 years, did a lot of real estate loans, and was flipping some homes on the side for fun. And I finally got my wish to move into real estate sales right when the market turned in 2009, and have been in real estate sales for the last 13 years and have built a lot of business around real estate. And we encompass everything from rehabbing to renting to furnishing to fixing, flipping. We help buyers, sellers, investors, and it's my life's work, but it's also like a hobby. It's a lot of fun. So
yeah, it sounds like it. You've been building a lot. So, I mean, you've been in the industry in all types of different aspects too for well over 20 years at least, right?
Yeah, we'll leave it at 20 plus.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. I like it. Yeah, 20 plus.
Start making me feel older.
Don't worry. 20 plus years. It's not that long ago. So like you said, you've got all these different in-house things or businesses you're running, right? And now how long have you been at EXP? It's been just coming up on 2 years, right?
Right. Okay. So sales now for 12 years, but EXP, almost 2 years. And it's funny because I've been approached so many times, and I wish that someone had just properly really explained it, or maybe just wasn't the time. But 4 or 5 years ago is when I first heard about it, and I didn't take it seriously. And I, can't go back and change time, but I'm happy I'm here now.
All right. So we know you're a top producer, and you actually are an Icon agent, right? Why don't you tell us what entails to become an Icon agent?
So with EXP, obviously it's one of the best, like as far as making most of your commission, it's one of the best platforms in the market. And the company really wanted to incentivize, their top producers, because they obviously want us to help build the business and bring in more agents. And so essentially there's a couple different ways to get to Icon status. It resets each year. Once you hit your company cap, you sell 20 units beyond that, and you become an Icon agent, which entitles you to get your $16,000 cap back in stock. There's like a handful of requirements aside from that to fulfill each year, like attending a couple events and teaching some classes and such. But essentially you can get to Icon by doing that, by selling 20 units after you cap, or the other way you get there is by hitting $500,000 in gross commission income. And so in high dollar markets like mine, that's typically how we hit it. We usually hit it from the commission side.
You are, like I said, top producer, Icon, so everybody understands what that is now. I want to talk about your business model, because you're doing something that not many people, or you will see around the country even, not many people do it, taking this approach, but it's developing into something way beyond than just your real estate business. And I think a lot of people would benefit to hear from the type of businesses you're building.
Sure. Yeah. The real estate sales business, I have kind of always been kind of like the lone wolf with like an assistant, and, doing a fair amount of business. And, because of my background, I did really good when the market crashed, working with the banks, helping the banks, get the properties unoccupied if someone's still squatting, getting them, securing them, fixing them up and marketing them and taking them through close. I also did a lot of corporate relocation for a lot of these big Bay Area tech companies. And so kind of with my background, having these skills, it's interesting, everything just kind of developed based off of my experiences. Like I started realizing more and more, like, hey, the banks or, corporations or even just individual homeowners, It's so stressful to have to deal with finding all the people to do the different tasks when you go to sell. And once I kind of started doing a lot of repetition, with basically in these situations with the banks or with corporate, with taking possession of these properties and just taking them from start to finish, I realized I should apply that model to all my sales. And so I started finding a way to be full service. And at the beginning, it was hiring stagers to stage properties, hiring independent contractors, hiring, cleaners, window cleaners, landscaper. I mean, I just was out there kind of trying to, get people on every property to come in and do different things. But then, it's kind of hard sometimes, people's availability, trusting that it would get done when you're in a market you don't know the person you're working with. Anyway, long story short, I just found it much easier to put into place my own vendors for things that I was repeatedly doing. So I did get introduced to an amazing stager who's been with me now for 13 years as part of my team. She's exclusive. But when we first started working together, she had just moved here from another market. So she had sold all her inventory. She's like, Shane, I'd love to stage and help you do what you're doing. I just don't have inventory. So I said, okay, what are we going to do? So we started renting furniture from a big company and staging. And then that was kind of expensive. It was hard to get the pieces. It just wasn't making a lot of sense, but it worked. It worked for when I had to work. And so, as far as staging, we ended up deciding to, hey, Shane, get a warehouse, buy the furniture, get a sprinter van. I mean, start, we literally built our own staging business, and we literally only stage our own listings for the most part, but have a couple of warehouses just jammed with, beautiful furniture, artwork, accessories. I mean, we can furnish probably 6 or 7 houses at a time if we need to. And I don't know if that sounds like a lot to you, but when you think about every single
thing absolutely.
So those 2 warehouses are stuffed when the stuff comes back, because homes have been selling pretty quick here. And then, as far as contractors, I have a contractor and landscaper that I used to work with years ago when I was in the trades. One guy that's with me, we've known each other for over 30 years. He's been with me full time now for 5 years. And, him and, a couple other guys, they handle like our landscape, a lot of our maintenance, and a lot of our like rehab and punch lists for inspections, etc. So they're part of the team. Like I said, we have the stagers part of the team. I have a logistics manager. She used to run a moving company for 15 years. So she's part of my team as far as, coordinating on the listings, lining up the schedule for contractors and staging and marketing and photos and lock boxes, signs. I mean, all that kind of stuff. And, I have basically a few other support positions within the team that help everything flow. We have also in-house marketing, because obviously as the business has grown, there's been a need for marketing. We have our own photographer that we use on everything. We have a videographer. I mean, we literally have gone out and, pretty much set up, everybody that we need. Some are exclusive and just work for us on payroll or independently with us. Others are vendors that do also service some other clients, but they're pretty entrenched with us, where they make themselves available to be able to service our needs. And so anyway, this is kind of, we got to this point for the sales business, and not to get too far off the subject, but this is all kind of rolled into starting to do fix and flips for ourselves again. I've partnered up with a couple of investors, do some stuff on my own. I wanted to build more passive income, so I've started an Airbnb business. Essentially, when you have the furniture, the wholesale license, and everything else, I mean, we ended up opening a home design store. So, we're able to buy stuff for our own projects. We have a retail store set up for clients, friends, other agents to come and buy stuff. But we've enabled ourselves to be able to pretty much service all of our furnishing needs. We can go to our suppliers, and, we have different Airbnbs in different markets, and we're able to go ahead and obtain whatever we need to get those places all ready to be rented. As also with the real estate sales, I've started bringing in agents on our team. I've always had, a couple agents, buyers agents, etc. But since being with EXP, this whole model of residual income and how you can work, with agents, I've, brought in a lot of agents in my organization, and currently there's 7. They're actually on our team, and we all work together to be successful. And they're in different strategic geographic locations. That makes it really helpful. And also wanted to plug one more thing when it comes to EXP, is that, it's been life-changing for different reasons. I mean, obviously financially, I mean, EXP's been life-changing, but then at the same time have built this fabulous network and have been aligned with, obviously as being part of the Wolfpack, have been aligned with great people from around the world. We become, the best of friends, and do a lot of business together. I get a lot of referrals in from other members of our group all
Across
over
the
the
world.
country.
Yeah.
And across the world. Yeah, I've got stuff from Canada. Yeah, and obviously I do business over in Portugal, different places. But yeah, being international as well, you do get international referrals. But I've gotten a lot of referrals here within the U.S. back and forth. That's been a real plus. And whenever I have to send out a client, I know I can put them in good hands, being with another agent that's part of our group in another part of the country. And so yeah, this is just kind of
even within EXP, like our Wolfpack, we have a little bit higher standards, and we know we can rely on our agents and our referral network.
right.
I did want to circle back just a little bit to your team, because you said you have your own team, right? Because you are a team structure. Now this team you came, because I felt like it might be important to kind of talk about. You brought this team, your own team, on with you to EXP, right?
So when I came on, there was 3 of us that came over when I came on. And then because of the way EXP is set up, I learned about team structures and what we could do here. And I ended up building what they call a standard team. And so now I'm up to 5 support staff and 7 agents on the team.
Nice.
And yeah, this is the biggest that I've ever grown a team, since I've been in real estate sales. And EXP definitely gave me the platform to be able to do that.
Nice. And now, again, circle back to you got your team, plus you started to build out all these businesses, all these different in-house, whether they're contracting or just employees, right? You have everything coming out. And that leads to what I would assume is a fantastic client experience, based on the fact that I think you told me your 90% of your business is just repeated referrals. Is that right?
Right. Yes. And thanks for bringing that up. I didn't even touch on that. Obviously, one of the reasons to be full service is, to explain to you what we provide for our clients. Yeah, especially for sellers, for example, if you're going to sell your home, having this team at your disposal. I mean, a lot of sellers are overwhelmed. Like, oh, we're going to sell our house, but oh, we should probably fix this, but wait, what about movers? What about this? And so one of the big advantages of working with our team is the fact that, when you hire me, you pretty much get everything. Like, it's a full, like I could say, concierge service, right? So I come and meet with you, walk through your home, give you kind of an idea what your home is worth when it's in tip-top shape. If I feel we need to do some repairs, I basically, get you estimates on, the different things we want to do to get your approval. And then we just direct bill. There's no markups or anything, no kickbacks. I mean, we just basically have you hire our contractors direct, and we will manage all the work. I mean, you can just sit back and do nothing. Once you approve the expense of whatever needs to be done, and then let's say that it's more money than what you have on hand, or you need a little help, I'm able to go ahead and cover that and get paid through closing. So we're able to finance the repairs as well. And then, of course, we see the value in staging a home. So if you are living in the home, what we'll do is my stager will walk through and see if there's some pieces in your home that we can work with. Then we'll have you box up and pack the rest. Then we'll bring in whatever is missing to stage, or we'll get you completely out to vacate the home, and we'll come in and fully stage the home. And that's actually included in our fee. We don't charge for that either. And so, when you look at it overall, it's, you're getting, the management of all the repairs and everything done. You're getting all the staging, all the marketing included. Essentially, the only thing you have to pay for is repairs, and then everything is managed and taken care of you from the beginning until it closes and you move on to your next property.
I mean, you're doing, so most agents walk in for reference and you get a checklist, right? You're like, hey, this is what you need to do. I can help you get some of this, but like, here you go, right? And you're just coming in and you're like, hey, we can do all this stuff. Some of it, obviously, repairs you'll have to pay for, but other than that, we're good, right? Like, we're just going to take care of all this. And I think that's why you're 90% repeat referral, because the client experience must be like no other. And people talk about stuff like that. They're like, this guy signed the contract, and 3 months later, not even 3 weeks later, all this stuff was done and my home was under contract. It's like, It's just unheard of, and it's amazing. It's amazing, I think.
Well, I tell the clients that, or I tell our clients, or especially our sellers, that we really do all the work up front. Like when we go to the market, that's like the last step. Like we've already done all the work because we do a home termite inspection up front. We've already done all the health and safety repairs, any upgrades we want to do. We've completely like taken care of everything. And so when we go to market, we have all their seller disclosures ready, have all the reports there. Like everything's done. The property's in the best shape it's ever been. And I mean, essentially we go to market, we usually do an offer deadline and, basically set the deadline to then review the offers. And on some of these properties, we will have, 2 or 3 offers. Other properties can have as many as 60 or 70 offers. It's insane. Yeah, but typically all of our properties will sell over market and they'll sell quickly. There's some unique properties that might take a little longer sometimes. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, we can't really control that. All we can do is present the property in its best light. Right. And then the other thing I'm going to say, it's really important to price it correctly. And so in order to work with us and take advantage of all these services, we have to see eye to eye on the pricing strategy.
Yeah, it's really important, especially being upfront about that too, because if you're putting in all this time and effort and you have all these employees and contractors, I feel like that's probably something to be discussed, and that's good, right? Just everything's upfront, transparent,
Yeah, well, we'll spend 10 to 15,000 between staging and marketing and everything we do on these homes. And so we don't want to, work with people that are not realistic or not real about selling. Yeah. We invest all this money up front, and if we can't sell it, we lose it, right? So, I mean, I'm putting skin in the game. I'm investing with my clients. So, my clients can never be like, oh yeah, well, this guy just had to spend all this money. Well, no, this guy spent money side by side with you to get your place sold. So if, he's a bigger loser if it doesn't sell because you still have the house, he has nothing.
Yeah, you walk away empty-handed.
Yeah.
But it seems to be working, man. You're killing it. Are you comfortable sharing, how much in sales volume you had this year? In 2021 anyway.
I would say, I don't have obviously right in front of me. I do know my numbers fairly well, but it was over 50 million. And I would say in 2021, because we do sell a lot of luxury property as well. In 2021, just because of the way my business is referral, we're not really targeting specific price points or neighborhoods or whatever. And so this last year, we did have a lot of property that was in areas that were not as high priced for what people expect in California. So we did do a fair amount of units. We did help a lot of families. Wasn't quite, what I usually see as from an average price point on a transaction, but it was a good year. And collaboratively, we're still kind of tallying up the numbers from the other agents as well, because we're kind of finalizing our goal projections for 2022. But we're looking in the neighborhood of 150 to 200 million for.
It's amazing, dude.
22. Yeah, well, this is collaboratively though with the other agents.
Yeah,
that's our target, and we feel confident. We feel confident that we can achieve that this year. The prices have continued to go up, and I spent a lot of time this last year and a half building a lot more of the infrastructure, but we got that built. And this year, I personally plan to do a lot more sales. I mean, I've always been the sales guy. I've never been so much like I'm the leader in everything, which I'm a great leader. I mean, I will definitely say that. But I mean, I've always been the guy that likes to be hands-on in the field, helping the clients and selling property. Like I've never really been the guy to sit back and just run things. Like I like to be hands-on. And so, in 2021, I didn't get to be out in the field as much as I typically am. And so look out for me this year, because
I bet.
hoping to have a banner year on the sales front.
Yeah, I mean, you got $50 million, we'll say a little more than part-time and active sales. And then you got, you're like you said, you took time off, you took a step back, you built all these systems and infrastructure in place to just better serve your clients, better serve the process. And now you're going to be back in. So I can only imagine, I'm hoping you get all your goals. I think you're on the right track. It sounds like it, man. What are the benefits of EXP having 50 million in sales this last year?
Well, the thing is that, if you're at a traditional brokerage that doesn't have, it doesn't have a cap, then like if you're at 80%, for example, then, you do, 50 million, let's say that on 50 million, let's say it's about $1.5 million in commission. If you're giving 20% to your broker, that's 300,000. So as a small business owner, I have nothing against brokerages making money, but it's like, hey, if I could take that 300,000 and put it into my own business versus putting it into the brokerage's pocket, I just feel like I can, do better for myself and, those that I care about, and having that money in my possession. And so, that's obviously been a large aspect of being here. But then at the same time, we didn't talk about this, but that whole equity share program with the stock, I mean, essentially, we can buy up to 5% of each transaction's commission in stock at a 10% discount. I have that on auto. I do that on every single transaction.
One little click.
That's the retirement. That's the retirement money. And when I joined EXP in June of 2000, our stock was at $10 a share. By February of last year, it was at $140 a share before it split. So just in the time I've been at EXP, I've seen the stock go up over 1,000%. And I, really believe that this is just the beginning. There was only 26,000 agents when I joined. Now there's 72,000. And we're on our way to 500,000 agents. And I think that's going to happen quicker than you know. So the stock's been a big aspect. We talked about the Icon program earlier, getting your cap back. I mean,
let's quickly touch on this, right? So you got your equity that you're getting per transaction, right? So if you're doing $50 million in sales, do the math, right? 5% of that is getting EXP stock at a 10% discount. Then you have like your smaller stock awards that we still get, which are like your first transaction for the year, your cap for the year, all that. So we get a few $100s for each of these little accolades in stock awards.
Yeah, and the agents that come on, you get like a $400 stock award. Yeah.
And so for every agent on your team, right, you get your stock award. And then the Icon status, what we did talk about Icon, but think about it, right? You're paying so we're on an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. If you've seen this video right here, you'll know how the model works. But 80-20 split, $16,000 cap. Shane hits Icon agent. Now he's awarded that $16,000 back in company stock, in addition to all his transactional stocks, the little smaller stock awards, all that stuff. And the longer you're here, and like you said, $10 before, we don't know where it's going to go. Nobody can predict the market. However, I believe, just like you said, you believe it's going to continue to go up, and therefore you're just going to continue to build wealth. And a lot of that is stuff you're not going to even think about until you're ready to retire, and you're going to look at your account and be like, wow.
I refuse to touch it. I mean, because
right. Yeah. Why?
Some of it needs to vest, but all the one that you contribute per transaction, that's always available.
Mm-hmm.
I won't touch it. I have not touched it. And
I mean, that's like our retirement account,
exactly.
Similar to like a 401k, but
And the last piece that we didn't touch on was the health insurance. I mean, when you're self-employed, when you're self-employed, I mean, there is no health insurance. You have to go pay a fortune to have your own. And EXP is the first real estate company I've worked with that provides, a channel for, a source for health insurance. And so we do have a good health insurance in place. And, I mean, there's so much additional that with this company, there's so many additional benefits and so much else that we're involved in. I mean, just so much. Like it would take like a whole nother to get into. Maybe we can do another session another time.
I'm
talk about the additional stuff that EXP brings to the table. But these are the main pillars. These are the main financial pillars that affect everybody. A lot of the other stuff, gets a little more nichey, and it's something we can address to kind of give people more insight on the company and everything it does, because it's not all about dollars. They really do care about people and organizations and equality. So there's a lot more we can get into in a future session.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we should definitely circle back and maybe touch base on another session at another point, like a progress report almost, and see how things are going maybe halfway through the year, see where you're on track and everything. And we can talk about a little bit more of the benefits. I mean, because like I said, if you go watch that video I put in the card, you'll see there's tons more benefits, and those are just the top 5 that I picked out. But like you said, we can sit here and talk about it, and we don't need to. But the one thing I just want to reiterate, because you did just say, is that they do care, right? They care about your success, because the success of you, I don't know how I'm saying this, helps the success of everybody else, right? And everybody's just one big happy family. And when we say that, we mean it, right? There's like, especially in the wolf pack, everybody's real close. We get on our calls, we chat. Some of us have met in person, some of us have not, but it really is just something that's happening way different. And that's why we're now Glassdoor's #4 company to work for 2022. I'm looking forward, keep growing and going, you know.
Well, and I'll just kind of recap to what you were saying is that, EXP is, it's the only agent-owned real estate company out there. Half of the money that comes into the company gets paid back out to the agents in revenue share. And so it's the only company that does that. So, we're talking about millions of dollars that get put back into the agents' pockets each year. And there's no other company like that. So I believe that's what you were
That's what I was trying to say. I just couldn't get it out, but thank you for the clarification of that. Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And something I did learn the other day from Glenn that I didn't know was that more than half of the company is actually owned by the agents.
Yes, sir. In
stock. So I don't remember the exact number, which is why I don't want to say it, but I thought it was like something around 60%, 60 something percent. But don't hold me to that, but yeah, that's something I didn't know. And that's just, I find that also to be amazing. So half the money's going back to the agents, more than half the company's owned by the agents. So something to think about. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I think that's it right now. I don't have any more questions. I think we kind of covered a lot. If you wanted to any final thoughts or anything you wanted to add, and we can wrap up.
Well, I think that, another topic that's always hot on the press the last couple of years is agents getting replaced by Zillow or by computers or whatever else. And, I can attest that that's not going to happen. That's just never going to happen. No. And got lots of client testimonials to prove it. I mean, there's no way that you can substitute a human when it comes to what's involved in what we do. And I think just kind of hearing a summary of everything I offer, everything I do, it doesn't matter what technology's out there or what company comes along that wants to claim they can do it all, but they're not going to have it in-house. I mean, no large company that wants to dominate the world is going to have the manpower to be able to service our clientele like we do, and they're not going to have the specific market knowledge to best serve clients in those markets, and they're never going to care like we do. And there's a small percentage of the clients out there that they just want money, they don't care, but I would say about 80 to 90% of the clients I work with, they really do value the service and what you could do and the whole process and the emotional aspect. These big tech companies are not going to guide them out of client in tears yesterday, just overwhelmed with the process. She's buying, she hasn't bought in years. She's emotional. I got on the phone with her after she broke down with the lender and just had a chat with her and, reassured her because I care about her. She's a friend and, she's a client, but she's a friend first for years. And, it's moments like that. They're like, okay, yeah, whatever, replace us. Not going to happen.
Right.
Anyway, I just want to end with that because I know that
that's perfect.
I have some viewers that are kind of still wondering about that. But I think that especially this last year, even with COVID and everything else, and then I don't want to be naming any big companies, but obviously there's a big company out there that took a big step back from trying to buy the world of real estate. They learned the hard way.
Took a huge loss.
I think there's going to be more of that happening in the future. And anyway, I just wanted to share. I just thought that was one of the topics that was hot on the press last year. I thought people should, hear it from me, at least where I stand. I'm sure other people have their positions, but that's where I stand.
I mean, a lot of FSBOs who are, selling their house at 30% less than what they could get for it will tell you they should have hired a realtor, right? You can't replace this that easily. So I think that's a good high point to end on. So thank you for that.
Of course. Very well. Thanks for having me. I've actually really enjoyed conversation and spending some time kind of going over things about me and what I've done. And I'm still writing my story, so I'm glad you're going to hold me accountable in a few months.
Oh yeah, I will. I definitely am gonna follow up. I'll follow. I'm going to question you every once in a while on our calls too. Like, how's that goal looking, man?
Yes, sir. We all need accountability. It doesn't matter how long we've been doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's good, man. I enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you some more, man. Thank you for coming on and doing this with me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. All right, man.